Hi. I didn't know you were here. Hey, welcome to another episode of Kensil Culture. And right now, I'd like to introduce our host. Okay, he is the wizard of weird. Okay, he is the tycoon of trivia. Ladies and gentlemen, I can only be talking about one man. Yes, it is comedian John Kensil. John.
Hey, thank you very much for listening to our super show today. I'm here with the legendary Wid.
Hi, everybody.
Prop comic extraordinaire. Wid's been known around for years with his sledge-o-matic and his curly red hair.
Hey.
And his...
Those are the other two prop comics, John. And we should have proper respect for our good friend Gallagher, who just passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty much of a pioneer of the prop comedy, and made many specials. And he'd set up for me and Carrot Top, and I want to thank him and have give him a proper respect.
Oh yeah, you think about the prop comics. Him, Carrot Top, Bill Bixby, you. Dan Rather. It's a neat.
Dan Rather. Wait, you mean Dan Rather from CBS? Okay, no. All right, so. But Dan Rather is not a prop comedian, John. Okay, he just he manipulates the facts. That's about all he does. Is Dan Rather still around even?
Yes, he is. He's trying to reinvent himself as an 89-year-old. He interviews rock bands. And you should see him, too. He's like, David Crosby, did anybody ever call you Larry Fine? It's just awful. He's trying to redo his coolness and hipness by interviewing like Pearl Jam and, Donovan and The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, like all the popular guys. But, weird. Look at this great studio here and this great background. Look at that there. Very cool. It's Kensil Culture right there. I'm touching it right there. Look at that right there.
Kensil Culture is now in a new... facility, okay? It's here in Cheltenham, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was built over an Indian radiation material burial ground. There's two-headed dogs outside running around.
Well, Cheltenham always sounded to me like an Indian word meaning...
like something an Indian magician says when he does a trick. Cheltenham, and watch me pull a rabbit out of my wigwam.
Well, that's why they wear hats, to keep their wigwam.
What a No. All right, this became the 1965 Dean Martin roast all of a sudden. And we're dressed up tonight. We look like two Philadelphia newscasters with Philadelphia accents.
And you know what? Accents are something that gives Philadelphia its distinct personality. When you can talk like that, that's from the Dutch. We have that from the Philadelphia accent is actually from the Dutch. And I have just gotten, the largest amount of followers from one post that I did during when I snuck into the World Series game, okay? I can still do it, okay? I've snuck into thousands of different things. I snuck into the recent World Series game. I put on a tuxedo.
He put it on backwards.
That's how I put on a tuxedo, a $10 tuxedo that I bought at a thrift stop, and I walked up to one of the entrances. They opened the door for me and just let me go. They just saw me in a tuxedo and let me go. And, I said, play ball. Okay?
He's a magician. Enrico Palazzi is going to sing the national anthem.
But I had a friend who was out in front of the stadium, and he was playing the saxophone and, busking for money. And a young girl was there, and I don't know, I think she might have had a few drinks or anything. Nice-looking young girl. But her Philadelphia accent was so prominent.
Oh, my God.
That she said she was on the phone, and my friend was fixing his sax, and she goes to her mother, "Yo, Mom, I'm across the street near the saxophone." "Yeah, I'm over near the saxophone." John, it got 10,000 views, okay? And everybody said there's nothing more Philadelphia than this.
There's on weekends, there's infomercials for car dealerships in this area. They call it the Delaware Valley because George Washington, Delaware, who's flew across the Atlantic in the spirit of St. Louis. That's where he's from. But then
wait. Back up, John. He did not fly. That was Lindbergher.
Yes. He's one who invented Cheez-Its. But where was I going with this? You screwed me all up. All right.
Sorry,
no. There's infomercials on for people who sell cars on weekends in the area, and I've driven past.
We look like car salesmen right here, baby.
I've looked like a weekend weather reporter on a Scranton TV station with wearing a suit like this, right? But the TV local commercials, and it's in every city has them, but they have one in Philadelphia, and it's like, and I've seen people shooting them. Okay. They try and do wacky things. So they buy an hour of TV on Fred's Honda and Carl's Toyotas and Ron Jeremy's blimp mobiles and stuff like that. But that type of cars. But the accents, you hear the Philadelphia accent. Yo, get down here now. We have a deal for you. Get down here. It's ridiculous. When I lived in California, it's a state. Mm-hmm. I thought I lost my Philadelphia accent. Right. And
yeah, you think you did.
Right. Oh my God. I found it big time when I moved back. But when I was out there, people used to ask me, because my accent, like, you talk so fast and 3-word clips and your top lip doesn't move. But they asked me, I got my haircut one time, and the girl said, wow, where are you from? England? And she thought I had a Scottish or an English accent. I've been asked if I have an Irish accent. And but it's remarkable. And it's like Madonna, how she got an English accent because she lives in England or wherever she lives at.
And she's pretentious.
Yeah, she's very. But now she's from Detroit, but she speaks with she's a high noble person from England, with her meat pies and blood pudding. All right, but so I moved back to Philadelphia and I go to a restaurant, a diner, and the first thing the girl said was, "You guys ready to order?" Right. And then I went to a Wow the next day, and the girl said, "Next in line," instead of line, next in line. Wait, what's going on? But this video it has, it's very funny. It's a real pretty blonde girl. Yeah, Mom, I'm here by the guy with the saxophone.
Saxophone. But there's certain words that you could say with a Philadelphia accent that sound much better, like casino. Okay, where have you for a casino? Casino. I love to say in a Philadelphia accent, psycho. Oh, he's psycho. Okay, and it fits perfectly.
My mom used to say things like, "Stop putting my clothes on." No, my mom used to say things like,
"That must have been a drag." Sorry, John.
My mom used to say things like, battery. Eagles for the Philadelphia Eagles, battery, radio, water, hot dog, persimmon, and but it's nice to be back here on our new super studio here. Very cool here tonight too. Radioactive bricks behind us right there, purple bricks there, and but we had it's nice to be back on the air again too. We have a lot to get out, a lot to talk about, and we did some neat shows this week. Now we were talking earlier before the show started about Gallagher.
And I think we talked about him on the show too just now, right?
But the best part about Gallagher is if you read he had 27 Showtime specials. The best part, though, if you read about it, read the comments and stories off stage. His offstage antics were incredible. Like this,
he was a character off stage as well as on stage, and there's been reports that
oh my God.
That for the last couple of years, he's just been, because he's had tax troubles. Was it tax troubles?
Oh, man, yes.
And he was riding around, going to different comedy clubs, and he would just show up with the Sledge-O-Matic and a bunch of Hawaiian shirts that he bought at Goodwill.
Oh, it was brutal because on ETV years ago, they had the rise and fall of Gallagher. And it's actually it was very interesting. But he took a comedy class in the early 70s, taught at a Sherman Oaks Community College, taught by George Carlin.
Okay.
And in the audience was Gallagher, Bill Kirkenbauer, and Will Shiner, who Letterman loves Will Sharner. Will Sharner is very funny.
Yeah.
But these are guys who became kind of popular and then he kind of faded away a little bit. But Gallagher started doing that. But in the 90s, I guess, on ETV, they did a profile about he went bankrupt. Like I think he went through bad divorces. But they showed him having an auction at his house of all the props he had on his Showtime special.
Where was I?
Right? Oh, right. There's no way. He had a prop. He had a big wheel the size of a U-Haul truck. It was 3 plastic tires and a trampoline and giant Gallagher heads and it was. He went through a bad divorce. It was just brutal. But
he used to make his own props. He was sort of a carpenterish sort of handyman guy, and he would make. I remember my favorite prop that he had. He had a top hat that had a train running through it.
Oh, that's neat.
Like, this is my train of thought. I'm on the right track. I pull my freight. I'm wearing this for some locomotive. He would and actually build his props. Which I have never done. I have never, I just get things out of the trash or from a garage sale and bring that up on stage. But Gallagher was somebody who put together and his props and made them very, very funny. And it was something that he constructed, which I felt that I was different from him because I would just get things, and he had a brother. Gallagher had a brother, and the brother went out as Gallagher 2.
Fascinating. Yeah, Gallagher was so popular.
Oh, and talk about the train that was running around in the that's the sound effect. It's a little late, but it's
But Gallagher, he was so popular from his Showtime specials, and when Comedy Central first started, they were all over the place. But he was so popular that he licensed the Gallagher persona to his brother, and his brother could do the Gallagher act, but in small markets, while he was doing major cities. Well, what happened was his brother was getting a lot of work, and his was kind of waning, and they got into a big lawsuit, and it was 2 brothers that looked alike with striped shirts and mustaches.
They looked uncannily alike. Yeah. I mean, as brothers do sometimes, and he was not as funny as the original Gallagher, but he, with props, he hid behind them a lot more than I do.
Oh, what's interesting too is there's several videos online, if you look it up, of Gallagher falling down on stage with a heart attack or a stroke, and he had like at least 3 on video. They show one. He's wearing like a white apron, but he's about to hit the watermelon with the sledgehammer, and he
sledge-o-matic, please.
Several people I know who've worked with him. He toured as much as he could. I mean, up until like maybe a couple years ago, maybe. But the several people I know said they went out to dinner with him, and they said because of his strokes and heart attacks, he lost his swallowing muscles in his throat. So they said it was really disturbing to have dinner with Gallagher because he would chew his food like an animal. But then he had to tilt his head back and massage his throat so it would swallow it like a weird animal. I've seen videos of dogs that can't swallow, and they have a chair, so dogs have to eat sitting up so they can swallow properly without choking. Well, I said Gallagher had to do that. But Wid told me something interesting about the Rascals Comedy Club and Gallagher with his sledge-o-matic giant wooden sledgehammer.
One time... Rascals used to be the premier comedy club. They started West Orange. They had one in Cherry Hill, all around, and probably in other places that markets I didn't know. But they, at one time, had 4 or 5 clubs, but they had to close them because of a lawsuit.
A lawsuit?
A lawsuit that was caused by... I forget if it was Gallagher 1 or Gallagher 2, okay, but it was one of those Gallaghers. And the top, when he was going to hit the watermelon, the top of the sledge-o-matic flew into the audience and hit some poor audience member right in the head. And from that, the show stopped and everything, and then they had to take the person out and stuff like that. How do you continue after something like that?
And the guy's name was Walter Mellon.
No. But but the person sued big time, and the Rascals, they all closed, and because to outdo the suit or for some legal reason.
He did a Mark Maron, who you look alike, interview with Gallagher a couple of years ago, and they got into an argument about something, and Gallagher stormed out. And all right, he was
reputed to have sort of a abrasive personality when to some of the club owners, and we've heard stories of him and just showing up at a club a week or two early. And
that's the story I was get to. But remember in malls, there was a store called like Gulf Coast or West Coast. It sold all movie props and memorabilia. It was like Spencer's, Gulf Coast. One of my friends said his cousin was working at a store in Nebraska, in a mall.
Right.
And Gallagher came in, and there was like 10 people in line. And he stood in the middle of them with a Hawaiian shirt for everybody to recognize him. And he said, "Can I get some help over here? Don't you know who I am?" And the person behind the counter said, "You have to wait in line." And he stormed out. And he goes, "We all knew it was Gallagher," and he wasn't kidding around. But I did a show in here's my accent going to come through, Cuyahoga Falls in Ohio.
Okay.
It's a comedy club called The Funny Stop. I did it with Bob Levy. The week before us, Gallagher was there.
Okay.
And the owner is an Iranian gentleman, real nice, funny character. He curses more than he said the F word more than I've ever heard in my entire life.
Okay, what's that, Frankfurter?
Yes. All right. I go, "Hey," I forgot the guy's name now. I go, "Hey, how was Gallagher last week?" And he goes, that mudda F, what a mudda F. I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We had 2 shows, 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. He goes, he gets here late, starts screaming at everybody, wouldn't take pictures with anybody, and he goes, the second show is supposed to start at 10 o'clock. The Mudda F is still on stage from the 8 o'clock show, and the Mudda F didn't smash one thing with that Mudda F and wooden sledgehammer." And he's going, "The Mudda F." And he said Mudda F a million times. But so he's saying this, and he goes, finally, some audience members were so mad, they ran up on stage, and they started smashing. They took the hammer out of his hand, started smashing. And he goes, "And there's something else." He goes, "The Mudda F gets here," and he goes, "Watermelons weren't in season. So the Mudda F went and got like tomatoes from the local shop right?" And he goes,
"I feel so bad that the watermelon, he couldn't do that. He had to have a grapefruit or something like that."
Oh my God, it was so funny. And he goes, "And the Mudda F, my family wanted to get a picture taken." He goes, no pictures." He goes, "I'm the owner." He goes, no pictures. And he goes, "Then the Mudda F?" I go, "Yes, the Mother F." And he goes, "It cost me $600 to get the carpets dry clean from the smushed vegetation juice on the floor." Right? And then he said, and now we're in that part of Ohio, like the border of Pennsylvania, wherever that's over there, right? There's a very funny comedy club in Erie, Pennsylvania. It was called Junior's Last Laugh. It's some other name now, but it's great. It's one of the best comedy clubs.
If you live in Erie, you need a laugh.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah. Right. Well, Gallagher was booked there, right?
Okay.
After this show here, okay? Well, here he screwed his calendar up, and he was 2 weeks early, right? So usually if you're 2 weeks early, you're a professional comedian, you'll fly back to your home in Arizona or wherever you live at and wait around, then hop on a plane that day. Well, Gallagher had a rental car, like you said. He would stop at Goodwill stores and buy Hawaiian shirts. He traveled with his Sledge-O-Matic and that, and he would and go to local supermarkets and buy vegetation to smush. But he got there 2 weeks early, right, to the comedy club, and they have a thing called a comedy condo where the comedians stay at for that weekend.
A comedy condo is something that they put 3 people into a house that should only have 2 people in it, and it's always crowded, it's always dirty, and it's where they put you when you stay overnight at a comedy club.
Hey, so they let Gallagher stay there for 2 weeks till his appearance in 2 weeks from the show, right? So I asked the guy at the club, I go, what did he do? He goes, he just drove around Erie for 2 weeks till it was time to perform. And just insane. So for 2 weekends, other comics like Joe the Ragman and Vibrator Jones had to spend time with him. And he didn't do any time at the club, he just drove around. in Erie, Pennsylvania for 2 weeks.
I would have put him to work if I was the owner of the club. I would have said, okay, Gallagher's here, and say, work a door deal or something.
Go sell pretzels.
But, see, I can't laugh at him showing up 2 weeks early because there was a pun contest at Helium. And I'm a big punster. I don't know if you know. I can pun on any subject but the king because the king is not a subject. But I love puns. I've loved them all my life. And I had showed up. The guy was called me up and goes, okay, you're going to be in the pun contest on the 23rd. And it wound up to be the 23rd of November, and not of October, and not when I showed up. Oh, here's Gallagher's hat again. But I showed up a month early, okay, for the and nobody said anything to me until the showtime, and I said, and they said, "Wid, when are you on?" I says, "Well, I'm going to tell the puns with the." They said, "Wid, that's next month, okay?" So I can identify with
getting there early.
with Gallagher for being a little bit early. I mean, it's it happens in this business, especially when you have so many, you have so many things to think about when you're doing a props. You got to think about where the logistics is, and getting to a place, okay? Because when Gallagher set up, because of the shrapnel that came off of his act, everybody up front, they would have giant tarps.
Yeah, shower curtains and
they would
rain gear.
Sometimes they would even bring like ponchos, rain ponchos and things like that. And the people in the first 8 rows, I'm going to say, were subject to little bits of
seeds,
watermelon, grapefruit, and other things that he had sledge-o-matic.
If you think about it too, there had to be a legal, like, what if someone slipped on a watermelon and hurt their back or get hit in the face with a rind?
It's a lot of legal thing. Not only legal, but everybody, when he in his aftermath would complain about how. Oh, yeah. Look, I got stains on the ceiling. Okay, the guy had stains on the ceiling from when Gallagher was there. And they didn't wear it as a badge of honor, as going, oh, look, Gallagher did this. They wore it much more as a look at what that MF did.
Do people have a fear of tomatoes now?
Well, that's why. I know you fear tomatoes. That's why I have this How to Pick Up Girls book for you, John. Okay, because I know that. I'm sorry. I didn't. That's sexist, John. You shouldn't call women tomatoes.
No. But speaking of comedy, Whit and I are both looking at books. Wait, speaking of comedy, boy, that's really pretentious. Speaking of hilarity, Whit and I are both looking at books.
She was my favorite first lady, Hilarity Clinton.
I saw this guy selling a book on Facebook called How to Kill on Comedy by Steve North, the comedy coach. But I found it online for like $1. But it's funny, the picture had him wearing a captain's hat, like a wacky 1980s wacky morning zoo DJ.
Like Hugh Hefner used to wear.
Right. Just more to it, that never looked good or cool anywhere. It only might look good on Humphrey Bogart in The African Queen, like got that little captain hat, but it was because it was dirty.
Well,
it's
John,
so wacky.
Well, John, they are coming back. Those little captain hats are coming back, and I got 2 words for you why they're coming back.
Waiters in New Hope?
Yacht rock.
Oh, you got a point there.
Yacht rock is something that I feel that the youth of today, and a few generations, Generation X and your Generation X lacks, but there are kind of sick of the lack of good music that is out there. Now, I'm into, I like some rap music, but rap is sort of it's sort of all the same, okay? Mm-hmm. It's so you got a beat and then you do clever words over it, and then I admit I like some Jay-Z and Eminem and
the best rap music you like though. You dig the samples, and it's usually from like a classic rock song that really enhances this thing. Like there's the song by Run DMC. It used "Mary Mary" from the Monkees. Mary Mary, why you bugging? But that riff they borrowed really enhances the rap music. Oh, but back to yacht rock. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yacht rock is it's sort of a I would call it a movement against that sort of the bad state that music is in now. Now, I'm not saying that all music is out there today is bad, but it is less relatable than let's say yacht rock, because yacht rock is they're structured songs.
Oh, man.
They're soft, and they have they have a melody, and besides the beat. And I think that people are.
I'm totally disgusted by it. All music now. I just listen to whale sounds and Zamfir. They got the pan flute. That's what I'm into. But but I've seen
the pan flute. I haven't heard that. But yacht rock is a made up genre of music. It's something that has always, Christopher Cross and America, those groups have been around for a long time, but they have never been categorized. They're sort of been categorized as easy listening or something like that. But now we have yacht rock.
Yeah, and I picture somebody described it one time, like, why do you listen to this type of music? And someone said, it's something the guy would listen to on his yacht. But I've gone past several theaters that were playing yacht rock music, and had some of the actual artists, but it was very neat with but people, you're right, the girls were all dressed in like summer clothes, and guys had Hawaiian shirts and skipper hats on.
Right. It's and that it's kind of a fad, I wonder how. Is there going to be a yacht rock top 100? Is there going to be?
There's a bunch of CDs that I accidentally bought. But what do you call it? How do we get into it? We're talking about the comedy, the books, the music. I found that's how it all started. This book I found here by Steve North, the comedy coach. I got it for $1, and it sold me on it was his wearing that little captain's hat, and
like the Captain and Tennille. Are they yacht rock? Captain
I would say so. Yeah.
I would say so too. So he was ahead of his time.
Can I read one of his jokes? Are you ready?
How to Kill in Comedy by.
All right. I wanted to give my girlfriend some extra pleasure, so I got her one of those vibrator things with 5 speeds and attachments. She thanked me, but she said, I already have an electric toothbrush. Joke number 2.
Wait a minute. She has a vibrator built into her electric toothbrush?
Yeah, I guess. Women. Am I right, guys?
I guess that must chip her teeth.
All right, here's joke number 2.
Joke number 2, folks.
You got to have wheels to impress the ladies. That's why I got mag wheels, leather seats, and flames on the side. I sure turn some heads when I drive by on my Schwinn.
That means it was a bicycle.
Yeah. Oh, my God. When I'm at my house of worship, I kneel and pray and drink the wine. That's got me kicked out of Walmarts in every state. I have no idea what that means unless he worships at Walmart. Okay.
Is that How to Kill in Comedy? How to Get Killed in Comedy telling jokes like that. What the heck?
Throw this book at people. Gallagher threw it. It hits me in the head in the audience and wrecked 20 comedy clubs. Real quick, one of the staples of our shows over the years is people accidentally send me things after I send them money. A box. Well, I found a box in my bedroom.
I've never gotten a box sent to me in the mail. I've never gotten one.
I want
in
to
my life. I've never used Amazon. I never sent away for something. I never, and.
I think.
And John, you get boxes all the time, don't you?
I find crazy deals, and it's weird. I think people like getting things in the mail, like it's like a Christmas present, and it's really weird too. Once you get it, you're only happy for 5 minutes. Oh, look at that, and you put it on your shelf. But all right, I unbox it, but Wid can open it and look.
Oh, I get to see. This is something that I don't do. I always try to keep under the radar until I had to vote. They made me vote in 2016. Now everybody knows me. I got jury duty and everything. Look, they sent you this.
I collect hoagie wrappers, so this is I'll save this.
Look at that. Oh man. Okay. I always wanted to do that. Okay. Right here. John, let me guess what this is. All right. It's not a football. Okay. It's not a gun. It's, John, not again. John, not again.
A real man needs 4 of these.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Benson. You push that right there.
How many of these do you have now, John?
4 or 5.
4 or 5? What are you going to do with 4 or 5?
In case one gets dirty.
Dirty? I thought you were a clean comedian. This is so, oh, sorry, John. This is so weird. How many puppets like this do you have now, John?
4 or 5 of those.
And how many Oogie puppets from the Uncle Floyd show do you have?
I don't know, like 10.
That's the truth, okay?
And yeah, screw cryptocurrency. The real money is in these things. There's a movie, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Toy Story. But this is from
yes.
Toy Story 4, the last one. Mm-hmm. And they have like these real emotional scenes in it, like it's kind of brutal. But they get all the antique toys, Woody and all the get sent to a vintage store, like an antique store, and they hook up with some other dolls in there from the 50s. But it's a real cute little baby girl doll, but she's evil, and she has a bunch of these Benson ventriloquist puppets as her minions, as her henchmen. So, and it's weird too. Every other doll in the movie can talk except the ventriloquist dummies. And they just run down the street with their mouth open. They're really like creepy looking. And this is based on what's that? Goosebumps, the Night of the Living Dummy.
Okay,
that's who he's kind of based. Jerry Mahoney. But it's funny because there's like 10 of these chasing Woody down, and their hands are in the air like this, screaming down, running after him. But I did a show one time, and Wid goes, "Quick, we have to go to the Goodwill store." He goes, "I have to get some
Hawaiian shirts for Gallagher."
So I'm standing in line. I'm buying crock pots and kitchen utensils.
Did you buy a crock pot?
No, I'm kidding. I should have. There was still roast beef in it. But Wade comes up and he had one of these dolls here, and he said, "Hey, you can use this." So I can't. The jokes I do with it in my act, I can't do. I don't want to curse on the show here.
Okay.
But hey, everybody. You know the squirrels in Cheltenham explode after they have sex?
Wait, the squirrels explode after they have sex here in Cheltenham?
Well, the ones I had sex with did.
Now, John, that's how to kill in comedy, okay? Yes. Right over there. I don't know if you're going to pick up any girls, okay? But with a joke like that.
The first page of that book says to do that.
In that Toy Story 2, yes. It is so. I could identify with the guy who was a collector, okay, and he was real anal about the condition of things. And see, I'm a collector, okay, but the condition I'm a little bit concerned with. But most of the time, I will just take things as they come, and it will not. It'll not bring down the value of the item to me, okay? But there are people out there who, if it has even the littlest scratch on it,
oh man,
they will be so, so concerned and so like running over and trying to chew you down from a price or a value that you put on something. And they say, "Oh no, I can't give you that because it has a scratch over here and it doesn't have the original hat," and things like that. Oh. That stuff sort of drives me crazy. I guess it's the same with people who collect records and,
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
the people only want the records that, or VHS tapes. They only want the horror ones or things like that.
And you told me, too, before about your lunch boxes that people don't, a real collector doesn't want an originally, they'll take a mint condition, but not one that's restored. Mm-hmm. But they like things that have a little bit of wear and tear, like it's used.
Yes, it's called patina.
Yes. And we have another box here that's not a Benson puppet.
This is the first time that I've opened, any box ever, and I'm so John. It's not another one of those, is it?
You got to open up to see.
I'm scared, John. Okay, look, it's it's a white trash doll, right over there. Once again, John, it's something that we're going to have a reveal right here. All right. And I don't know what it is, okay, but I'm pretty sure that it has something to do with puppets. Okay, let's take it off right here. 2, 4, 6. Oh, my gosh. It's a Vin Diesel puppet. Oh, right over there. This is beautiful, John. Okay, right over there. I can see the future right here. But one thing about being bald, it's neat. Okay, it's very neat, and he can comb his hair with a sponge. But what is this one's called?
Wid. In the 70s, a TV commercial came out for a doll called Hugo.
Okay.
Doll of 1,000 disguises.
I thought you said Hugo.
Hugo, right? This doll here is called Hugo, and it came with a disguise kit. He had a wig, a hat, an eye patch, scars, mustache, beard, goatee. And so kids would sit there and go, "Oh, look, now he looks like a villain, or now he looks like Fu Manchu, or now he looks like Chris Morgani," like stuff like that. And but this is it's kind of rare, but people in the 70s, pardon me, in the 70s remember this commercial on TV. And I was recently.
It was one of the weirdest commercials that I have ever seen, John, because it was like one of those things. Remember, you had the magnet and you had the bald-headed guy, and you can give him any kind of haircut and or mustache and things like that. That's what this reminded me of in 3D. Okay.
Yes. I was at a horror convention by accident a couple months ago, and they were selling a life-size version of this. It was a whole mask on your head, but you could do the exact same disguise, only full-size ones. And there's a TV show on called Uncle Floyd.
Uncle Floyd was it was a local TV show from New Jersey, from Central Jersey, and it was very New Jersey-centric. And it was run by a man called Uncle Floyd, hence the Uncle Floyd Show, who would nostalgically play old tunes on the piano and had a group of, I would call them stooges, okay? A group of guys who would, they would do little skits and little songs and everything. But it was a kid show for adults, okay? And it was on for years.
From 74 to 96.
Yeah, and it was on like VHS, not VHS.
UHF, New Jersey public access channels,
and things like that. And Uncle Floyd, they bumped him up to a PBS station, okay, in Newark, New Jersey, and then they bumped him up into a national TV station, Channel 4. And he was on for about a week on Channel 4 because they overproduced it.
Yeah.
It was a local show. Uncle Floyd was a local show, and it had a charm because it was so low tech and low budget. And like Hugo here was one of the heroes of it, and one of the other puppets that John has was a hero of it. And people are still very nostalgic for the show.
Well, it's very neat, too, because Uncle Floyd loves ragtime and 1920s piano songs. Really like, if you knew Susie and, I am the god of hellfire and I bring you fire and the Abba Dabba honeymoon.
Wait, that's not a 20s song.
No, okay. I am Iron Man.
Okay, Iron Man is.
But as he played the piano, a guy would be under the piano next to him and he would see the head pop up and dance next to Uncle Floyd like that, right? And it was very, very funny.
So these So these Yugo puppets are they're very popular because of the Uncle Floyd show. Still, after all these years, okay, and I just find it amazing that it's in such good condition after all those years. But could you imagine being a kid playing with that? That's like,
and then just like on your dresser at night, the kid's like looking over at it. Are you sleeping? Oh, look at that kid right there. Oh, I'm checking for a hernia.
It came with its own toupee, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was kind of based on like the Inspector Clouseau character from the Pink Panther films, where he would wear a mask and stuff like that. And
but that was exciting for me to open up those boxes, John. I've always lived in in unconventional places where you couldn't get a box. Oh, a third one, ladies and gentlemen, box number 3.
Now I don't know what's in here, and not everything I get is Victor
Here,
Von
let
Puppets.
me do this. Okay, now this was sent to you by.
Read the.
Okay, all right, first class. All right,
It was sent to me by the.
this is. I always feel like I'm doing a.
I hope this isn't that Johnson expander I got.
How many? Now, I want people out there to guess, okay? Is it going to be another puppet that John has in here, or is it going to be something like a Fonzie glass, okay? John, you're a big fan of Fonzie, and...
You might have a point there. I collect Fonzie glasses from McDonald's in the 70s.
It's so weird. I went over to John's house and a beautiful china cabinet, with beveled glass and everything like that. And you look inside of it, it's just filled with Fonzie glasses. Okay, you got like 15 of them. Fonzie glasses of all.
I have Lenny Squiggy, Laverne Shirley, all the 70s sitcoms. But they made a series of collector's glasses, and it's kind of neat. They're in great condition. Now, I don't know what this is.
I don't know what this is either, but you get free bubble wrap with it.
Does it feel like a doll?
It's.
I hope it's not like some product like.
It's not living because there's no little air holes in it.
I hope this isn't a product that's not made for sensitive viewers.
Oh no.
Oh wait!
Oh no! Not again!
No, don't open it all the way up. I didn't realize what was in there, but you can tell by the feet.
John, you're despicable, John. You are despicable.
It was another one of those Benson puppets.
Show them both together.
I didn't realize.
This is an obsession, John. Okay.
Look, there's her feet right there. Okay. I didn't realize that.
John, you are one unique collector.
That's why I didn't open this one up.
John, if this is another Benson,
I'm quitting the show.
Is there a window here that I can jump? Could you put a window on the screen so I can jump right out?
You can go down and land on the tracks.
No, John. No.
Show's over.
No. That's a sickness, John.
The problem is, I thought I was getting a Robert Guillaume doll from Benson, the TV series.
No. Now, this is the kind of doll that you should be collecting right over there, okay? I can't, you have all the, I can't afford something like that, John, okay? You have 3 of those, 4 of them. Look, I'm feeling the crunch, okay? And don't look at me like a serial killer, John, because I have guys like you for breakfast. Hey, do you know the difference between Captain Crunch and, let's say, the New York Jets?
No, what?
Captain Crunch belongs in a bowl.
If there's any mistakes, we can fix that in post.
You can fix this in post. Okay.
Post cereal.
He has one of those. He has one of those captain hats on. That nobody. I like yacht rock. He would. I mean, this is the target audience. Okay. Bye, Captain.
And Now, that was a little bit
Do
crazy.
you have any other dolls? Okay, that he might say yes. I'm kind of scared. Okay. The wrestling. Now, the world of wrestling, I've only recently got into, and I didn't know that that it was so popular at one time. I think I just missed it by a generation of.
It's still incredibly popular now. In fact, you do a comedy wrestling podcast. Oh my God. So many kids, and now they're like in their 20s, like 30s and 40s now, but who grew up on The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a huge fan base, and we all know it's theater, but it's huge. But as a kid, I grew up, I was born in 1994. But the
wait a minute, John.
I don't count those years I was in the WNBA.
Okay,
but makes no sense. But I, as a kid, I grew up in this, watching. There used to be a manager named Classy Freddie Blassie. He was a wrestler in the 50s and 60s and 70s. He probably made this something, but he looked like I think he looked like a thick gray-haired Polish guy. That's what he looks like. He's looks like a European immigrant. But he was a hilarious wrestler. And then he became a manager as he got older. But he's famous for Andy Kaufman made a short film called My Breakfast with Blassie.
Oh, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Because I've never understood that.
Because Andy Kaufman loved wrestling, and Freddie Blassie was They used to be called the Hollywood fashion plate. And he'd wear like satin jackets like this, but he used to have a cane in his hand. And he would come out, and he's like, I'm Freddie Blassie. And there's I don't know if this is maybe inside. There's a performer named Weird Al Yankovic.
Okay, I opened for him a couple times.
He had a song by Freddie Blassie played on his radio show called Pencil Neck Geek. And you hear Freddie Blassie sing the song, Pencil Neck Geek, Grit Eating Freak.
Was he the man who brought Pencil Neck Geek into the lexicon of wrestling? It wasn't the Hulk?
No, but he was Hulk Hogan's one of his first managers.
Okay.
Right? And it was so funny. He would yell at the audience, now listen here, you pencil neck geeks. My guy's going to win. All right? And but it was very funny. It was hilarious. And out there, people, if you get a chance, if you can find his autobiography, that's very prominent. It's hilarious and will make a great, great movie. Well, I accidentally went to a flea market. There was a guy selling this. It was like $5. Right. Okay. The next week, I accidentally went to a toy convention, and they're selling the exact same thing for $85. And
that doll for $85.
Right? And this is when they first came out with the wrestling dolls, and it was him. But it was so freaking funny. And the song parody he did called Pencil Neck Geek is available on YouTube. He sings a song, and it sounds like Big Bad John.
Big Bad John.
He goes, so I'm walking down the street one day, and I stop in this restaurant. And I see this guy behind the counter with a turtleneck sweater on, and he was cooking food. He kept screwing my order up. So I went back in the kitchen, and I pulled his turtleneck sweater down, just as I thought. Pencil Neck Geek. And he starts singing the song. A chorus comes in. Pencil Neck Geek, Grit Eating Freak, Scum Sucking Pinhead with the lousy physique. He's a one-man losing streak. Pencil Neck Geek. And you're, ooh.
John knows all the words to Pencil Neck Geek. Well, I think that's impressive.
Well, then he goes, it's a three-chorus song, three-story song. They go, I saw that there, there's a dog. So you hear the recording of the song. At the end of the song, you hear the engineer in the recording studio go, Mr. Blassie, that was okay, but can we do another take? And he goes, no, we can't do another take. He goes, wait a minute. Why are you wearing a turtleneck sweater in that sound booth? Hold on a second. And
he breaks the fourth wall.
And he goes, take that, you pencil neck geek. And no, yours like sounds electrocution.
It's great when celebrities of anything, they sort of make a song or out of their catchphrase.
Oh my God.
Rapping Rodney, okay.
We mentioned him earlier. Frank Gorshin had a song like "Do the Joker" or "Do the Riddler," right?
Okay.
And it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. There's a video of him wearing the question mark green screen thing, right? And he has all girls dancing behind him, going like, "Do the Riddler," the whole song he's going, "Riddle me this," right? What lays eggs? And just
he had a good voice, Frank Gorshin. He could actually sing besides being a impersonator.
Yes,
and that's what he was. And I worked with somebody who worked at the Playboy clubs. Okay. Back in the day, and he wasn't a comedian. This guy that I knew, he was sort of a techie guy. He ran lights and all this stuff. He said, out of all the performers, who got the biggest reaction? Frank Gorshin, because he would come up there and he would sing songs, he would do impressions, he would tell jokes. He was, he was sort of your triple threat of performers at that. And let's face it, riddle me this at the Playboy Club. Woo.
Well, you look still walking.
Yeah.
One time I opened for Frank Gorshin in Philadelphia.
I remember that time, John.
Right.
You opened up in Chinatown someplace.
Yeah. He was in Philadelphia filming the movie 12 Monkeys with
12
Brad Pitt.
Monkeys, yes, where he...
Which a movie I really came to like over the years. When I first saw it, you wanted to see Bruce Willis in like a diehard time travel movie. This movie's not that. It's very sci-fi. But he's the doctor in the movie. Well, he got booked to open a comedy cabaret in Center City at 10th and Arch in the middle of Chinatown, right? And it was me hosting a woman that I heard he was seeing on the side, possibly, maybe. I can't, right?
Oh, Holly Ferris.
Yes, right. She did Cher and Joan Rivers.
She was also an impersonator, but she impersonated female impersonator like Cher. Sometimes she would do the opposite sex. She would impersonate Joy Behar, but I had to open for him, right? Frank Gorshin, right? And it sucked. It sucked in that I loved it. Like here I am touching old Hollywood, like old '60s. Oh yeah,
here I am. I'm talking to the guy. I'm seeing him. It's like meeting somebody from a '60s TV series, right? Well, the majority of his audience they don't go out anymore, right? I'm a young guy. I'm obsessed with all media. His audience, people who grew up on Batman. Well, they're probably in their 60s and 70s now. I was in the 60s. They're all old. They wouldn't. Anyway, so I'm at the nightclub with him. He comes out. And he does the best impressions, like dead on. Like he's the one who came up with James Cagney, but he didn't do a character of James Cagney. Like he did. He did just like him. He did Burt Lancaster.
He was the greatest Burt Lancaster in the business.
Well, the young people in the audience didn't know who he was. They might remember him as the Riddler. Well, in the middle of his act,
nobody remembers poor Burt. I mean,
and in the middle of his act, he does an impersonation of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from like 1942 with Frederick March, which nobody knows anyway today. You might say Frederick March, somebody's what I'm talking about. You mean the guy who invented the month? But he...
I'm sorry for snorting.
Well, in his act, Frank Gorshin pretends he drinks the Dr. Jekyll potion to turn to Mr. Hyde, and he demanded a green spotlight on his face to indicate he's turned into the evil Mr. Hyde. Well, he didn't get it. Because the ceiling's like 40 feet high. They don't have a light up there, right?
That's John Barrymore played that too,
right.
and he used the Frederick March too.
And there was anything about Frederick March. I think when he did it, he did not use
makeup. He just manipulated his face.
So Frank Gorshin, in the middle of a set, does this for an audience of people just staring at him who didn't know who he was, right? And he said, "F this," and dropped the microphone and walked off. I can't deal with this unprofessionalism, and he stormed out of the place. But you know how Frank Gorshin wound up his career? What he wound up doing?
I was down in Florida and met him in Fort Lauderdale at a all-night diner, and he was sitting there because he was premiering his tribute, his one-man show to George Burns.
Yep, and he toured the nation doing it at old age homes, and he was actually really good at it. Wait, I don't know how long we've been on our Super Return to the Air show. What do we have this week? We have 3 shows coming up this week.
We have 3 shows coming up this week, and we've just... I love performing. I'm going to have to tell you that, John. I find it, it's like a doctor to me. You know, you could, and no matter how blue or how sad or how upset you feel, once you get on that stage, John, it's like Dr. Grease Paint. That's what I call it. Because you're up there and all your troubles seem to go away because you have a task to make these people laugh, and it feels good to do that. I feel that it's, no matter what rung of show business that I'm on, I'm glad to be there.
We just had a nice run of shows. Like, we did 5 shows in the past week, 2 weeks, and we did a show on Friday night in a neighborhood in Philadelphia called Bridesburg, which is a little town in Philadelphia, whatever you call it, neighborhood, built behind a chemical plant, and it
was the most surreal looking club that you've ever seen. It reminded me of the English clubs, okay, where they would have that it's always it was right next to the chemical plant. So I mean, giant towers filled with
chemicals,
smoke and things. And the processing. And what kind of chemicals?
And there's 2-headed dogs running around and squirrels with human features.
I had to shake hands 3 times with one guy.
Yeah, and it's weird. Also, too, this it's a catering hall. They book comedy shows like every couple months.
And the people there were very nice and very.
See the wall behind us right here, right? For years, when they had the comedy show there, that wall was a giant mirror. They had giant mirrors, and it was so distracting trying to watch comedians. And they go, "Look, that guy has his back to us behind him." That's why they finally put curtains over it. But it was a show. It's all working class people. It was on Friday night, and it's real like working class roofers and like, what's going on, cause you told.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. It was
I got you.
Nice people, but a little bit.
I got a joke for you.
Yeah.
Toilet.
Oh yeah, and I've doing the hundreds and hundreds of shows. I think that was the worst I was heckled in a long time.
Oh well, so that's what I was getting to.
And I had to be nice to the people. Because there's nothing worse than picking on somebody who heckles you and is a friend of everybody there.
Exactly right, because it creates tension in the room. Like it's like in the middle, people are going to go to a fist fight. You know what's really weird too? A little side, right? When I'm somewhere, I see a fight almost starting to happen. Right. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I'm one of those guys like, come on, guys, don't fight. But in my mind, I want to see them beat the crap out of each other. Don't you want to see a cool, Jackie Chan, Chuck Norris fight? Like people getting flipped over bars and getting bicycle pumps inserted in them and stuff like that, crazy stuff. But so this show on Friday night, people don't realize. I love to write a book on a Wang expansion, but instead I'm going to write a book on how to run a comedy show.
Right.
And one is on a Friday night. Start the show early because people have worked all day. They didn't take a nap after work. And they're drinking whiskeys and steaks and, what else do they have in the buffet?
And that's just the kids.
Yeah, that's just the kids, right? Pancakes, galunkies, pierogies, right? Blood pudding, meat pies, right? Monkey brains. But and they're all tired and drunk. So they had me go up first. I think I had a nice time. All right, it's
when you get
involved in comedy too, you want to. I'm going to be the next Richard Pryor or Jim Gaffigan or Brian Regan or Peter North. But I wanted to be like comic. But then you realize you got to take gigs and gigs and gigs. So I'm opening a catering hall in freaking Bridesburg, and I only did it because I got paid nicely and they gave me a sound system. I used anyway. When I was done my set. In my mind, I was like, "Thank God I am done."
Right? We all have those.
The person after me was a local kid who just got out of his 7th time in rehab. God bless him for that, right? Well, his whole act, he talked for about 15 minutes about losing his Ray-Bans in the ocean in Wildwood, and his story went nowhere. Like, he didn't say, and I saw a grouper wearing my glasses.
The fish cropped up, and he had my Ray-Bans.
Yeah, I saw a clam. Right, and the fish had an ankle bracelet and a Phillies tattoo.
Yeah. And then, stop it, John. They had neck tattoos were the fashion of the day there, and that's just the ladies.
And this freaking sand shark came up with an Ed Hardy T-shirt. Fish. So anyway, he ate it. You saw how bad it was.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was a nice kid, and he had things there, and that was one of his first times up on stage. So
the next guy is a very, very good guy who was on the show. And he's a very good guy. I like him a real lot. Named Nick. I won't say his last name. And he's a ventriloquist, and usually ventriloquists destroy.
Yeah.
Well, and he does really well all the time, right?
Well, that's
this crowd staring at him, and he has like an animated human being next to him. Hey, I heard you broke up with your wife. She ran for your best friend. Are you bitter? Yep, and I bit him too. Right? Well, the crowd's staring at him, and he had to do 20 minutes. And he's a very good guy. I'm not bad him at all. It was not his fault. It was the fault of the puppet. For what he said.
You blame your puppets, John. It's your fault.
That's right.
Take the blame once in a while. No.
He made me.
You're the perpetrator.
That puppet me. He put words in my mouth. He's the one pulling the strings. But so then Wid had to go up. And Wid did 47 minutes in a row. And there was drunks yelling out. Because Wid's very funny. He shows you the punchline of the joke. And Wid pulls out a dust brush and a skeleton and goes, look, a close brush with death.
Yeah.
Well, he did that. It's funny. Well, a couple of drunks in the audience were yelling, oh, come on. Don't mess with that skeleton. Right? And then, but it wasn't a heckler. It was a heckle. Yeah. A heckle is a disruption.
It was a heckler.
Yes.
And, and a lot of times hecklers will yell out like words from another dimension. Okay. Well, and, I've been sober for 11 years. So, but I understand that alcohol manipulates. Okay. And it manipulated because how long were we waiting? I mean, the doors opened at 6 or something like that, and the show wasn't until 9. And so these people were pretty well enforced by the time I got up.
And ladies and gentlemen out there, listeners and watchers of Kensil Culture, the man who was doing the most heckling to...
Oh, he was a guy named Jerry, and he's heckling me, and he's like stepping all over my lines and stuff like that.
And why couldn't you nail him?
And I'm being nice to him.
Why couldn't you nail him?
And why couldn't it end?
Because who was his brother?
The owner comes up at the end of it and goes, oh, you had a problem with that guy. I said, oh, well, it was nice. You don't want to admit you had a problem with a guy. I said, no, I didn't. Say, oh, good, because he's my brother. Okay? and I said, and I'm going to say, but the show was on. I was going to say, where the heck were you? I said, if that was my mom, I would have told her to shut up.
Oh,
and that guy, he came up, and they think that they make it better for you. And they say, hey, weren't we funny?
I was in the back of the room, and I was behind him, and I saw him walking through. I was about to look around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we were both going to go up and tell, because there were a few people in the audience who looked like they were a little rough. You know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah.
Like they just
they looked like they were, tough guys, and and you don't want to heckle back to people who are tough.
The guy who booked the show, real quick. Well, we got to wrap this up. Booked the show. His name's the Pickle Man. And
the Pickle Man.
He looks like I'm serious. He has the body of the Philly Fanatic with a Rod Stewart head on top of it. Bad now, Rod.
Let us get that. Okay, the body of the Philly Fanatic.
So like a chicken hen, hen,
and the head of Rod Stewart.
Yes, right.
That sounds horrible.
It's a horrible description, right? And he takes his Rod Stewart wig off. He has a shaved, bald head, and he goes, "Who do I look like up here, Vin Diesel or Rod Stewart?"
And I look like Hugo.
Well, exactly. Well, I'm in the back room. We've seen a fat guy with a bald head, and I go, "Gomez." All right, and He went up and did 20 minutes, and there was an African-American gentleman in the audience. Pickleman goes up and starts impersonating Jesse Jackson, going, "I ain't got no," and so, oh my God, holy crap.
Using all the,
stereotypic things you can't say in today's, today, the year of 2022.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous, but... Real quick, in South Philadelphia, by where Wid lives at, it's called the Oregon Diner. It's where I think Italian people hang out in South Philly. All right. Well, they had a comedy show there one time.
Yes.
And Ed McGonigal, friend of the show, he was just up here earlier wearing that blue shirt, sitting up here. Here you go. He's a little guy. He's 4'11", 98 pounds of civic fury. He walks on stage in South Philly at this Oregon diner, and some cousin Christopher from the Soprano type guys, young Italian thugs were in there yelling, and Eddie was the opener or the host. Eddie walks up on stage. He's 4'11", 98 pounds. He buys his suits where I get my ventriloquist dummy suits, right? All right. Oh, look. Hey, what's that? Is that a J.C. Payne shirt? No. Oshkosh Begun. So Eddie, he didn't go out for Halloween. He didn't go out for Halloween this year because someone put a stick over the cat door. But so Eddie walks on stage and he's dressed up and he's a big giant yellow tie. Right, and it's wide looking. Like
he dresses like
He looks like a highway with a street. That's how big the tie. So he walks on stage in the South Philly club, and for some reason this Italian guy yells out, "I'm gonna make you eat that effing tie!" Right, and I go to Eddie. I go, Ed, what you do? He goes, I said, this guy doesn't like ties. So I go, what did Pickle Man, the booker, say to the guy? Oh. Pickle Man leaned over and said, "Hey, settle down over there."
But at least he said something there, okay? Nobody said nothing at this at Fran Lee's this week.
No, nobody said anything. And then that's when you're a comedy trouper. You just grin and bear it, punch your clock,
grin and bear it, and people are out to have a good time. I don't think hecklers actually know what they're doing, okay? Or they just need a little attention, and I've seen comedians go off on hecklers and just it stops the whole mood of the show.
Oh my God.
It just destroys it, and I try to do it through kindness. Okay, I just go, oh, you can say anything you want, and I let them say something, and then and then maybe I'll give them a little backhand shot, but I'm not going to go, hey, do you know what you're doing? I'm up here, I'm trying to,
I've been on shows and when some guys snap and they don't have any funny lines and they just attack the guy,
right?
And there's always alcohol involved. So the person,
alcohol,
and but it can be really uncomfortable. And then you have to start your comedy show over again. And like people, I told them, it's so, and the show usually gets horrible. The famous incident that's available online from 30 years ago, where the guy was in Colorado, I believe, and someone was or Arkansas, and he was a guitar act,
right?
And someone came to the stage and he goes, "Get back from me!" And he takes the guitar and bangs over the guy's head and smashes the guitar over the guy's head. It's a famous video. Well, you hear the audience go, "Yo, you don't have to do that. That was uncalled for." He goes, "No, you saw he was coming at me." You go, "You have to do that." And the guy had to get stitches, and there was a lawsuit and all that stuff. But if you placed in the incident, it went around. But just watch this. And when I do watch a video today, the heckler didn't deserve that. Security would have grabbed the guy. That guitar player must have been thinking, "I'm going to whack somebody with this the first second chance I get."
It's
El Kilbong.
You're in a situation where alcohol is being served. You don't know what people are doing out in the parking lot, or or in the bathroom or something. They might be doing some sort of vitamin. But and then you're up there and everybody cruises on a sort of insult comedy sometimes, or you say something that people perceive as being an insult, and coupled with the alcohol, you're a sitting target.
Like my wedding.
John, no, afraid not. Okay, all right. You have never had a wedding. Okay, I had a wedding.
What happened?
I got married in a garage.
What happened?
I couldn't back out. Okay. No, John, I understand.
Hello, Bellevue.
Yeah. Hello, Bellevue. Yeah. This is, hello, I'm John. I'm phoning in my act here. Okay. Now, right over there.
What's that? What's that?
That's that famous...
Tom Brady?
That's Tom Brady. Look, he can't find a receiver.
And
but that's people have hang-ups, okay, when they're in the audience and there's somebody getting more attention than them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, and sometimes you get it, you know, you can never classify a heckler, or you can never stereotype a heckler, because I've been heckled by nuns and bikers, okay? Both of them, not at the same time, but at different things, you know, so you can never tell who's going to, who's going to spring one on you, like, you know, show us your private areas.
But we might do two more quick segments for the show.
Oh, you're going to do other segments?
Well, you're going to take questions for the legendary Wid.
Oh yeah,
and and my tweets will be coming up.
I'm all ears.
And
too corny, John? Too corny?
Gotten Himmel.
Look, I'm the colonel, all right? And I don't take this crop. Shucks, John. Okay, here's my favorite. Right over here, sports time. Look, Ty Cobb.
But we're going to wrap up this little segment for the show. But thank you very much. Tell your friends about cancel culture. Check out, we're online now. You can see us a nice video. We're wearing suits. We have dolls and puppets and books and bottles of water and antique phones that young people don't know how to use. And the legendary Wid.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, for comedian John Kensil and Cancel Culture.
Thanks.